This is a trip we took uh, in the summer of 1971. We were transferred from San Bernardino, California to Massachusetts. So we got a Winnebago and took pretty much 3 or 4 weeks, like the whole summer, to drive across the country. This is the kennel where we boarded the dogs while we were packing up the house. We're picking them up and then heading out of town. Those We were into basset hounds for a while. The dark one is Jezebel, the mom, and that one there is Stud. Is my dad's idea to name him Stud, and he can't. He's just he can't handle those steps at all. That's my mom, and then this is my sister with her cat, who is not having it at all. So we're traveling 4 people and 3 animals and heading off here pretty soon. We're going north to San Francisco. Um, this is our setup on the inside. That's the back. Like my mom is drinking coffee, and that's my sister under the blanket, probably. And I'm having problems with the projector. I'm having pretty serious problems with the projector. Come on. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Back on the road. I don't know where a lot of this is, and there's a bunch of it missing, but we are heading north. Um, it's my dad, the consummate pilot. He drove the whole time because he's good at that. And we're entering San Francisco. It was my first time there. We didn't really spend any time. I think we just drove through because we didn't know anybody there. We have friends up in Washington State, and that's where we'll head next. I shot a lot of this, and my dad and me shot a lot of this, and I was his co-pilot for most of the trip. A rest stop with a view. We stopped a lot on this trip. I mean, the point of this was to see a lot of interesting places and places I hadn't seen before. Northern California is gorgeous. It's really beautiful. We got all the way. I mean, we stopped in Monterey and Carmel, and here we are at my dad's friend's house. Um, he has got these goofy friends all over the country, and we stopped and stayed with a lot of them. They're all great people and a lot of fun. I think we're heading east now. We're going to end up in Yellowstone Park. And it was one of the few times I got to back the Winnebago out. It was quite a vehicle to handle. I don't know where this is. And Old Faithful, that's my mom and sister there turning around. And we're pulling into a campground here in Yellowstone. We stayed a lot of the times in KOAs, but sometimes we just pulled off if we found a scenic place that we wanted to stay the night. Um, Sometimes when we would stay with friends, I preferred to just stay in the Winnebago. So often I had this motorhome to myself when we were staying in a city somewhere. After this shot, I think for some reason on this roll of Super 8 that I found, um, we jump pretty quickly from Yellowstone to the Midwest. I did a lot of fishing. We did that a lot. We fished everywhere we went. And this is, we're pulling into Oshkosh, Wisconsin to the Experimental Aircraft Association fly in. This is, an annual event of people who do home built airplanes as well as classic restored airplanes. And my dad was in the process of building an airplane in our garage in California when we got transferred. So he had it shipped to Massachusetts and stored there. And unfortunately, the barn he stored his partially built airplane in burned to the ground. And he surprisingly took it in stride. He later bought a small airplane with some friends, went in with some friends. There's another campground. I don't know where this is. I had this motorcycle that we kept on the back. And that's my mom. Always the perfect host. Yes. This is my sister being 14 years old. And now we're driving to New York, where my grandparents lived. We ended up in Massachusetts, but this is kind of like where the film ends.